Hello you glorious ding-dongs, and welcome back to Idiotsplaining, the show where I break down the weird, wonderful and often completely ridiculous aspects of everyday life for your listening pleasure. Today we're tackling something seasonal, sugary and strangely competitive. Advent calendars. You know, those tiny little boxes of joy that help us count down to Christmas, or stress us out when we accidentally eat 3 days in one go. We're diving into everything, their weird and slightly sinister origins, the wild stuff you can buy these days, the wallets they obliterate, and whether advent calendars are on track to be the next big thing, or just a festive cash grab. Let's get cracking then, because December waits for no man. Alright then, let's start with the basics. Advent calendars weren't always about chocolate or gin. They started in 19th century Germany as a way to mark the days of Advent, which is like the run-up to Christmas. The earliest ones? Just chalk marks on the door, really. Imagine that, no glitter, no treats, just scribbles. Very festive, am I right? Fast forward to the 1850s, we got our first printed Advent calendars. Some genius thought, what if we made this fun? So they started adding pictures behind the doors. Yep, that's right, your ancestors were thrilled by tiny illustrations of candles and angels. Simpler times, right? Then Mr. Lang in the early 1900s, a German printer who amped things up. He added those little perforated windows you could open, essentially inventing the modern advent calendar. And let me tell you, people lost their minds. Tiny paper surprises were the TikToks of their day. Of course, World War II had to ruin the party. Paper shortages meant advent calendars went out of fashion for a bit, but they roared back into the 50s. This time, someone had the genius idea to stuff chocolates inside, and thus began humanity's greatest love affair: sugary countdowns. What's wild is how the idea has spread. You've got advent calendars for dogs, vegans, wine lovers, anyone who enjoys a little treat every day. I even saw one with 24 types of hot sauce. Nothing says Merry Christmas like setting your mouth and bum on fire. But here's the kicker. For something so commercial now, the advent calendar still has a pretty wholesome vibe. It's all about anticipation, little joys, and not opening on December 24th until you absolutely cannot resist. Or is that just me? One little fun thing about Mr. Lang's original calendars is they were inspired by his childhood. His mother used to give him 24 little candies in the lead up to Christmas. He took a sweet memory and said, I can monetize this. Interestingly as well, the word Advent comes from the Latin adventus, meaning arrival. Early Advent traditions weren't about chocolate or even calendars. They were about fasting, praying, and prepping for the arrival of Christ. Advent calendars also took different forms in various countries. In Scandinavia, they leaned heavily into candle traditions, with one candle for every day. In Austria and Switzerland, you'll find beautiful handmade calendars featuring intricate artwork, often with a religious theme. It wasn't until the 20th century that advent calendars went global, thanks to American soldiers stationed in Germany during World War II. They brought the tradition back home, and from there, it snowballed into the worldwide phenomenon we know today. So weirdly, chocolate advent calendars owe their existence to the US Army. Who knew? So let's talk options. If you think advent calendars are just for kids, you're living under a rock. Sure, you've got the classic Cadbury and Lindt ones, but nowadays the market is flooded with everything from beauty products to craft beers. It's like the Black Friday of tiny boxes. Beauty advent calendars are huge. Companies like Charlotte Tilbury and Sephora are selling calendars filled with mini lipsticks and serums, because nothing screams Christmas spirit like exfoliating your face. Then the quirky ones. Lego does an advent calendar with little builds behind each door, perfect for kids or adults who haven't grown up. Harry Potter themed calendars, they're a thing. Even Friends got into the action. Could this be any more festive? For food and drink lovers, you are absolutely spoiled. Cheese advent calendars, whiskey calendars, even the ones that give you a daily coffee pod. like what I've got this year, funny enough. Forget Santa sleighs. Nah, we don't want that. This is what keeps the economy running in December. And for the truly niche crowd, there are calendars for pets. 24 days of treats for your dog or cat. Do they appreciate it? No. Do we love them? Yeah, but do they care? Really? Honestly, there's something weirdly satisfying about this variety. It's capitalism gone mad, but at least it's festive. Though if I see one more influencer unboxing a $200 skincare calendar, I might snap. And of course, there's the boozy calendars. Whiskey, gin, tequila, you name it, someone's packed 24 tiny bottles into it. There's also craft beer advent calendars. Sure, it's festive, but opening one of those every morning might raise some eyebrows at work. On the healthier side, fitness-focused advent calendars. They've got protein bars, supplements, and even workout challenges behind each door. No thanks. Even the tech industry getting on into it. Some companies sell advent calendars filled with miniature gadgets, USB drives, tiny tools, and DIY electronic kits. Perfect for the geek who has everything but patience. And of course, you've got Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig, Barbie, all of those advent calendars for the kids that come with toys or figurines, which are great until you're knee-deep in plastic clutter by Christmas Eve. Now, we talked a little bit about expense, so let's take a look at the ridiculous end of that spectrum. Did you know there's an advent calendar that costs more than your rent? Tiffany & Co. once did one for $112,000. It was a box of diamonds. Imagine opening December 12th and going, ooh, just another necklace. Another contender of this? The Porsche Advent Calendar. For a cool $1 million. That is $1 million. You've got watches, designer luggage, and wait for it, a yacht. Because nothing says Christmas like realizing you need a bigger garage. For the foodies, there's the Pringles Advent Calendar. Not super pricey, but it's somehow elaborate. 24 different flavors of chips. Flavors like Christmas dinner and pigs in blankets. Then, of course, the decadent chocolate calendar. La Maison du Chocolat. Handmade truffles, ganaches, and pralines, all for $1,200. And let's not forget the handmade artisan calendars on Etsy. Of course, we're not overlooking those handmade luxury calendars. No. Harrods or Fortnum & Mason. Oh, yes. Yes. Do you have a spare $5,000? You can definitely buy one of those. One of my personal favourites is those over-the-top luxury candle advent calendars from Jo Malone. I mean, yeah, if you've got a spare wad of cash, I suppose. Every day you get a miniature scented candle. By the 24th, your house smells like a spa. It's indulgent, sure, but at least it's practical. And for the ultra elite, what about Rolex watches, rare jewelry, or bespoke experiences like helicopter rides? It's less about Christmas and more about showing how rich you really are. But the question remains, is the joy worth the price tag? Yeah, actually, yeah. I want a yacht. So where do we go from here? Well, advent calendars are only going to get weirder. We're already seeing digital ones, apps that ping you a daily surprise or a discount code. Not quite the same as ripping open a cardboard door. Of course, the rise of personalized advent calendars. Companies let you pick 24 custom items, your favorite snacks, little gadgets, or photos of your dog. It's advent on demand. You're in charge of what happens. Now, could AI be the next frontier? Well, imagine an AI-powered calendar that learns your preferences. Starting with socks and candy, but then ends up suggesting books, playlists, or even life advice. December 15th? Maybe call your mum. VR advent calendars could be fun. Open a door and step into a winter wonderland. Day 1 could be the North Pole, and day 24, a virtual gingerbread house that you could eat guilt-free. And who knows, maybe the sustainable advent calendars will take over. Refillable ones with eco-friendly treats, or calendars that plant a tree for every day you open. Very green Christmas, but here for it. Whatever happens, the advent calendars aren't really going anywhere. It's one of the few traditions that's managed to stay fun and not overly serious. Honestly, in this chaotic world, isn't that what we need? Oh, I tell you what they could take off though. Subscription advent calendars. Imagine signing up for a service that sends you a calendar every year tailored to your tastes. One year it's chocolate, then it's craft tools. They could keep surprising you and your direct debit. Oh, and what about the experimental advent calendars? Instead of items, you unlock a QR code every day that takes you to a video, recipe, a virtual workshop. Day 5 could be a Christmas cookie tutorial. Day 20, mini concert with your favorite band? Maybe. And going back to the AI thing, they could also predict trends based on your calendar use. Did you open the wine calendar too quickly last year? Maybe they'll send you a tea one instead. This is starting to feel like a little bit like Black Mirror now. But let's not rule out the possibility of advent calendars being more communal. Picture a neighborhood advent calendar where different households host a daily surprise like a reverse Secret Santa. Festive, interactive. No thanks, I'm going to open mine behind closed doors. Well, congratulations, you've reached the end of this podcast and you can keep opening your advent calendars. I'll be back next week for the bonus bits and the week after for another episode. In the meantime, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you may find me at Ross Hoare. That's Ross and Hoare. The music of the podcast was borrowed from Compotech and Streambeats. Everything you need to know is in the podcast description. This is an independent podcast created by myself, so thank you for supporting small creators. If you've enjoyed this, please send a letter to one of the big radio companies. They'll probably ignore it, but it's worth a try. But definitely send this to your friends. One last thing, if you live somewhere that's a decent time to wake up, then you can listen to me, Ross Hoare, every single weekday from 7 a.m. UK time. It's also on a Saturday morning as well. You can check out how to listen and various other things, including visiting the What's On guide, checking out the 24/7 schedule, and getting involved with groups at radiofolkson.com. Also, I've got my own website as well, rosshoare.com. You can check out everything that I do, including contact details. Oh no. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Idiotsplaining. If you like it, be sure to follow or subscribe so you get the next episode when it becomes available. And I'll see you next time.